my boys in the slammer. Homies gang gang, come around and gon' jam. Young guy, bitches let me wanna fuck me on the cam. On the block, used to serve black and white like a panda.
You ain't no big dog, you just doing all the barking, nigga. Drop a addy on my family, we'll come fast to parking, nigga. When you sit inside that cell, you'll find out where your heart is, nigga. Suckers ain't nowhere near our level, we the hardest, nigga. Only
Back in April 15th of 2019, a group of El Monte Flores gang members shot up a gambling den, also known as a slap house, located on the 100 block of North New Avenue in the city of Monterey Park. This slap house was allegedly run by the Asian Boys, a notorious Asian gang that stretches all throughout the entire country. The shooting left no one injured, but police were quick to arrive on the scene where they would seize gambling equipment, drugs, guns, stolen cars, and a bunch of shit used for identity theft. Slap houses have become a very popular play for a lot of these Asian gangs. Most of these gangs act as the muscle and pretty much supervise multiple gambling dens all across Orange County. Authorities allege that the Asian Boys have been using this house for much more than just illegal gambling operations before getting into this shootout with the El Monte Flores gang. The Asian Boys have had a rivalry with El Monte Flores since the 90s, and they have two main cliques located within the SGV, the North Side and the West Side Asian Boys. The West Side Asian Boys are known to have territory right in El Monte. El Monte Flores, also known as EMF, are considered to be one of the oldest and largest sureno gangs that's located within San Gabriel Valley. But before we get into the video, I just wanted to announce my P.O. box. If you guys want to send me something to promote, or you just want to watch me open something up on video, don't forget to get at me on Instagram to get that P.O. box address. But without further ado, let's get into it. EMF occupies the entire city of El Monte, California. There are other Southside gangs that exist here, but EMF is by far the largest organization without a doubt. They are believed to have roots that date all the way back to the 40s, possibly earlier. Besides the city of El Monte, EMF is believed to have expanded to various other cities and also exists in states outside of California. EMF is also very well known on the streets, and they are known to have a bunch of hitters. The West Side Asian Boys, or formerly known as ABI, which stood for Asian Boys Insanity, became cool with the Long Beach AB sometime in the 90s. After merging, ABI became the West Side Asian Boys. There's a lot of pictures on the web that show West Side Asian Boys members throwing up the dub, and most people would assume that they're repping Watching. But in reality, they chuck up the W for West Side. I hope that clears up some confusion. The West Side Asian Boys are also known to be very close to the Van Nuys Asian Boys, oftentimes working together to settle beefs. During the 90s, there was a green light on all Asians by the Mexican Mafia. During the time West Side Asian Boys were coming up, all the Asian gangs were dealing with racism from the Latino community during this time, which resulted in a deadly gang war in the San Gabriel Valley. On April 15th, 2019, Diana Gomez, a member of Barrio Maravilla, was gambling at a slap house located in the city of Monterey Park. Diana was a regular at this particular slap house. After spending some time gambling, she allegedly invited Randall Chinchilla, a known member of the El Monte Flores street gang. After the group began to gamble, Chinchilla and his associates allegedly started letting off shots inside the gambling den, allegedly at the Asian Boys members and anything in the vicinity. Court documents didn't state the motive for the attack, but we're gonna touch on that part later. After the shooting, CCTV cameras captured a group of people fleeing the scene in multiple vehicles. Authorities were able to identify two of the vehicles shown on video and would spot the first one just 2 days later on April 17th, 2019. California Highway Patrol spotted the vehicle, which led to a pursuit that ended on the corner of Hellman Avenue and Atlantic Boulevard. 4 suspects were arrested, along with 2 handguns believed to be used in the April 15th shooting. Just a day later, on April 18th, 2019, another vehicle was identified as the second getaway car right outside the home of the EMF gang member. The car was easily identified due to the bullet holes it had sustained on April 15th. Randall Chinchilla, Johnny Wen, Joseph Lamborn, Robert Fung, Tommy Sauer, Tony Sauer, and AJ Dang were all charged with attempted murder, shooting at an occupied vehicle, and possession of a loaded firearm. On top of these charges, some suspects were also charged with identity theft. This whole situation seems extremely messy. Now, it could only have 2 outcomes. Either this was planned or this was A robbery gone horribly wrong that was not planned at all. The Asian boys and El Monte Flores have been beefing since the 90s, so these two hoods do not have the best history, and that's pretty well known on the streets. The report clearly says that Gomez, the chick from Barrio Maravilla, was a regular gambler at this slap house, and I personally think she knew exactly who she was inviting when she hit up Chinchilla. The slap house was located on the 100 block of North New Avenue, and if we take a look at good old Google Maps, we can see that it was only 8 minutes away from El Monte. I wouldn't be surprised if rival gang members had chicks or girls going around to these slap houses, scoping the situation out, pretending to gamble and be a regular, possibly to see how much traffic this slap house actually has, and if the pot seems sweet enough, I'm thinking that's when they called the homeboys. The fact that the girl that called the EMF member was a gang member herself, she had to have known the gang history between these two gangs. And the person that she ended up calling, who was Randall, showed up with a bunch of his homeboys. All of these facts are pointing to a robbery gone horribly wrong. I mean, the fact that the EMF members came 2 cars deep, filled with guns, from what it looks like, I highly doubt the Asian boys wanted to get into a shootout at one of their gambling dens because of the fact that they had much more things in the house besides illegal gambling equipment, such as guns, money, drugs, whatever the case was. And I really doubt they would want to shit where they eat. So the last thing they want to do is get into a shootout and have police knocking on the door just to seize everything in the house. But of course, this is all just my assumption, and this is still an ongoing case, so I'm gonna be a little careful on what I say about the situation. But after everything is said and done, it's a blessing that nobody was actually injured or hurt in this shootout. Now, my question was, is this an isolated incident? But maybe somebody in the comment sections can shed some light on this. We've seen a lot of violence happen between the Asian and Latino communities, both gang and non-gang related. It's easy to get sucked into all the bad shit because 90% of what the news wants to cover nowadays, it's all just related to crime or death. I've said this before, but there's a us versus them mentality when it comes to California. But I want people to remember all the great things that happened when the immigrant communities of the United States came together to get shit done. Like the time Cesar Chavez and Larry Italang, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced that last name, they got together to fight for farmers' rights. Or when undocumented Asian and Latino activists worked together to initiate the DREAM Act, something I'm pretty sure a lot of you are familiar with. Our voices are heard when the community comes together. There's real strength in numbers, and I want people to remember all the great things we were able to accomplish here in the United States when we came together as a community. We've got to look out for one another out here because let's be honest, the system doesn't give a fuck about you. But with that being said, I'll be seeing you guys later. Peace.